Alright, so now we're going to look at combining materials together, like Lambert's, blends. So we're going to take and do some wacky stuff here. First off, I'm going to take something and add it to the blend, and I'm going to utilize the 3D textures here. So let's say like leather, for example. Maybe I'll add this to the bump. Middle mouse button, click and drag to bump map, and now I have bump. So let's look at that real quick out here on a surface. Again, always start with maybe a ball. You're going to have that green box in the actual center of the area. Don't mess around with that too much. Middle mouse button, click and drag to the ball, and then let's try to preview it. Okay, we got a preview. It's really noisy, kind of ugly, and let's kind of tweak it out. So here, under the actual leather, if you double click on that, you'll get all kinds of properties. Okay, let's play around with the properties of this. Wouldn't it be better if it was black and white? So let's go to the cell color and make those maybe a gray, and maybe these I would make a black. Okay. Oops. Okay, next, let's look at cell size. Let's lower this all the way down, or make it bigger. No. So this is a 3D texture. Remember I mentioned that thing in the scene. Grab it. 6 on the keyboard. And if you make this bigger, you'll find that it actually makes it so it broadcasts better onto the object. Okay, that's pretty neat, right? So, what we can now do, if we want to tweak it further, you can go to cell size and try to manipulate that. The density, you can manipulate that. So all these things can be manipulated. And then let's change the color. Okay, so now we have a material here. It's purple, it's got bumps. All right. Now let's go in here to another blend. Okay, for this blend, I'm going to add something else to it, and I'll straighten out these networks. So for this one, I want to take and maybe go in and add another 3D texture. This time I want to focus on like a cloud and add that to specular color. Okay, let's preview that over here. Okay, now you can see I have this object that's shiny in certain areas. And again, I can mess around with this a little bit to get something a little bit more pronounced, maybe. Like that. Cool, now I have another one that kind of looks like metal. And I'm sure if I added this same one over to the bump map, I would probably have something that looks like that. It's a little strong though, so I would have to almost separate those two. What if I messed around with adding these two together? So this one and this one together. So now I have this one, and I'll use the color from the original blend over here. And now I have an object that has color, and if you look every once in a while, it has those dots in it. Okay. Now let's go to this one, which is the one I'm looking at. Now it gets really confusing because you have other things now. That leaves your bump mapping channel open again, right? So now you have your bump mapping channel open. You can add another whatever you want over there. In this case, this time I might want to duplicate this, Shift D, then reduce it down to something more like this. Blend 2, I can now attach that to my bump mapping. And now I have this. And I can further turn that down by going into here and turning down the color of it. And it totally adjust it. There is color, there's color 2, there's amplitude. Every one of these can be mapped with a material itself, not just an actual object. So let's say I wanted to add some color to it. Blend. Let's add another blend. This time I'll make it green. Okay, I'll take this one. Here's blend 2. And then I'll add this to the ambient color of it. And now I have this. How do I turn it down? Well, I can go over to it and then turn down the ambient color inside by adjusting the color of the material itself. So you could sit here for days, absolutely 4 days, I know I have, and then adjust all this stuff and come up with such cool materials, and then all those materials can be made into a texture. And all these materials are very not parametric, but spatial. In other words, if you take an object, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be this torus donut. This torus donut doesn't have to have UVs. All you do is have to add the blend 2 to it, and voila, the torus donut has just as much cool properties as the other one. Minus the stuff in the middle that's kind of anomaly. Oh yeah, because it's sitting inside here. So it would have to sit inside this cube in order to take full advantage. So when you think you have everything down pat, try out a few things. You'll be amazed. Here's an ocean shader. Can I use that? Well, yeah, here's a blend. Here, I'll attach the ocean shader to the incandescency of it. What? That's amazing. And now can I render it out? Yes. I can render that out pretty easy. This is what I'm getting so far. Does it look like the other one in the scene? Not really. And that's one thing that you got to be wary of. It's easy to tweak out though. I mean, all you do is have to say, well, this one's got too much bumps. So I'm going to break that channel. And then now the other one should be more pronounced. Looks like Earth, doesn't it? Or Earth-like planet. So that's what I wanted to show you, is the ability to add materials together to make other things. Enjoy.